we're here with Ollie, aka Doberman. We know you from Beans, Rhymes and Life, which is a spoken word slash hip hop events that we host with our friend Benny at the coffee shop.
Yeah.
You've been to almost every single event.
I've been to nearly every single one. I missed one last time, and it genuinely did quite upset me. And I think Benny sent me a message being like, "Damn!" He was like, "Damn, it's the first one you've missed." I was like, "Shit!" I can't remember why. I did have. It wasn't even like I can't be asked this time. Like it was a legit reason I couldn't do it. I think I was elsewhere. I can't remember now.
I think
yeah.
I think you said something. You were writing with friends or something. I can't remember. There was a legitimate excuse though. I remember you.
That
you
was
messaged.
it. That was it. I was having a meetup with so there's some guys who I'm working on we're looking at kind of forming a collective and putting together an EP, and we'd said like it's quite hard getting all of us together because I'm in Finchley, one of them's in Streatham, one of them's in Croydon. Everyone's quite far apart. Yeah, we were working on tracks that day in Streatham, so yeah, and it was in the afternoon as well, and I was like, but I was thinking of pitching it as being like, oh, we could go to this event and then we could write afterwards. But I think saying to people in Streatham and Croydon, do you want to come to an event in Enfield? I feel like that'd go down like a lead balloon, so I didn't pitch it in the end. But yeah, so that's the one that I've missed. But yeah,
that's fair enough.
Yeah.
And last summer we recorded or filmed, edited, and directed a music video for you that went on the Jazz Hop channel,
Jazz Hop Cafe's YouTube channel. Yeah, hey Presto, that was
how did that
absolute blast.
Hey Presto, straight from the get-go. Soon as I exit my bed, it's ready, set, ristretto. Energetic as ever with the tech as a tempo. Better than the regular, still it's an effort to get known. Hey Presto, straight from the get-go. Every brekkie necking as many as 7 espressos. Forever restless, begging for that next show. Never on your Nelly, will this fella ever be sent home? Get up, pick my head up, telly set and kettle filled. Yawn for Yorkshire, pour the water, not too zealous with the milk.
It was almost as hot on that day as it was today, or maybe even hotter.
I was thinking, yeah,
before we had.
You've seen me
AC.
In some of my worst states in terms of how, because I just don't cope with the heat at all. And coincidentally, yeah, whenever we do things together, it seems to be on the hottest day of the year. I think no matter what the temperature would have been, I would have been sweating from the anxiety of rapping to a camera, because it's not something I do very often. Like that's my first, and well, I've done one video before, but it was with a mate, and it was a lot less serious. Like, we were just kind of mucking about. Whereas that's the first time I consider that I've done a proper video. So I'd have been sweating anyway, regardless of the heat. Then add into that, kind of trying to look animated, wearing a shirt and tie and apron, and being surrounded by hot beverages. Yeah, but it was it was,
yeah.
Yeah, sorry, you were going to ask.
And the coffee machine kicks out. Yeah, no. How many? Because I think last time I looked on that YouTube video, it was like 15,000 views or something. I don't know how well.
I think it's crept slightly up more than that. Probably not. I don't think it's broken 20. It'd be awesome if it did. I think it's around 17K, something like that, which is obviously sick. But yeah, it's mad. They've kind of got. It's weird with them because I think as time's gone on, they've strayed more into that kind of chill hop music, lo-fi sort of territory. So a lot of their audience, I'm not even sure a lot of their audience listen to rap with vocals on. Like I've even had comments on videos, or I've seen they've released albums that have instrumentals and stuff with rappers on, and the comments will say like, needs more instrumentals, or love the beat of this one, not too keen on the rap. Like it's the most heartbreaking thing at times. But they still, I think because I started sending them my music quite a long time ago, like I think one of my a couple of beers they put in a mix to celebrate the fact that they'd got 50k subscribers, and then shortly after they put out that video they had 100k subscribers, and now they've got like, I think it's like 750k, like it's something mad. But they definitely get more engagement and traction off that sort of lo-fi chill hop scene, which is kind of fair enough, man. It's sort of become its own community and its own culture in YouTube, and it's symptomatic of the sort of playlist culture rather than album culture. So I can see why maybe vocalists might not always fit into that quite as seamlessly. But yeah, no, that was a lot of fun, and that was something I think I'd recorded it. It was a while from when I recorded it to when I filmed the video, and then it was a bit long, and then it was maybe 6 or so months from filming the video to Jazz Hop Cafe saying let's put it out. But yeah, they agreed to put it out on my birthday as well, which sort of made the wait, like made up for the wait. It's like a nice little treat. So yeah.
Well, hopefully they'll give it another like push. Now we're creeping back into the summer, because it's like it's got that summer vibe to it, hasn't it? That
definitely, man. I've been thinking I might give it a little push myself as well. It's definitely a good track to jam, like to sort of whack on the speakers. And yeah, if you're out in the garden, or if you've got up first thing in the morning, you're making a brew or whatever. I don't normally talk like this about my own music, but yeah, the beat by Preposition, it's got that sort of like sambery kind of feel to it, hasn't it? Which was cool. It was a lot of fun to write to, man. And I tried to, well, yeah, I kind of say it in the lyrics as well. Like the process for writing that, I was trying to sort of throw the sort of message out the window for a bit. Like, because I try and write stuff with substance a lot of the time, or I try and think with each track, what am I saying here? But with that one, I was like, do you know what? I just want to. It's not about what I've got to say. It's about just writing a track that like makes people want to jump about and move, and on that sort of feel good Jurassic 5-y kind of vibe.
What do you prefer doing? Because obviously you go to spoken word events and you do a lot of a cappella stuff as well. But I really love the stuff you do on beats, like just that energy. And but what's your preference?
In terms of performance, definitely hip hop. But I've had this conversation with Benny, man, where like Benny Diction, shouts Benny Diction, if anyone didn't know who the Benny I was referring to was. Like I think in London, the hip hop and spoken word scenes are definitely way more fluid. But in terms of scenes outside of that, the experience I'd had of going to live hip hop events, it was way more like, it's a bit more standoffish. People are like, who's got the hardest bars, or like, who, do you know what I mean? Or who's killing it? Like, who is the best MC in the cypher? Whereas if you go to a spoken word event, or if you might not necessarily be a poet or consider yourself a spoken word artist, but you are just essentially someone who's saying words at this event. And people really listen, man. Like I'm always surprised by people at spoken word events who might not even be into rap, but they will pick up on the tiniest little nuance of one of your lyrics that you're like, whoa, I never like, because I think rappers get put off a lot by people saying, I'd like it, but I don't pick up all the words because it's too fast. Or like, I think people that don't listen to rap a lot, or if you listen to hip hop, you might not pick up D&B lyrics, because it's just having an acclimatized ear, isn't it? And it always surprises me that like if I can go in and do like a rap performance with like da-da-da-da-da, like quite sort of machine gun pace of lyrics, and someone at a spoken word event must have like, oh, I love that, and they'll pick it out and it'll be word for word correct, and I'm like, holy shit. But yeah, I think I don't consider myself a poet. I try and have a poetic element to what I say, and I'm inspired by like lots of poets that I've seen perform live, sort of poetry that I've read. Like I don't read a lot of poetry right now, but I did English lit at school and at uni, and there's definitely still elements of that kind of inspire the way I write. But yeah, so I'd say I don't know, I'm always trying to look for hip hop that has kind of a more, or looking to work with people in hip hop that appreciate the kind of more soulful element of it, or who have a message, and that, I think that's why Beans, Rhymes and Life is like, as an event, is kind of like, it's bang in the center of that Venn diagram. Like it's ideal. It's got, people that are into hip hop, people that are into just words in general and expression, but it's good vibes, and it's not like too standoffish or like sort of, yeah. But having said that, there's I need to kind of dip my toe into the hip hop scene in London a bit more, and I've been to a few events where I've been like, all right, actually this isn't as bad as I thought. I think elsewhere, sort of hip hop events I've been to in elsewhere in the country have sort of been like a bit more of that kind of, there's people are nice there, but there's definitely an undercurrent of like everyone there who's performing wants to be the best there. Like you definitely get that feeling. But yeah.
So give us a real brief history lesson of how you came to rapping. Like when was the first time you did anything or performed?
Yeah, man. So I think with me in terms of like going from just being, I'd say I came into performing and writing hip hop myself quite late. I think being into hip hop, I always enjoyed rap music. I think when I was about 17, 18, and I became more aware of UK hip hop being a thing, that's when I started appreciating what hip hop culture was, and also sort of studying the lyricism a bit more, and kind of really going from being someone that liked having hip hop music in the background to becoming a bit of a hip hop nerd and a bit of a hip hop fanatic. I think in terms of getting into writing it myself, it was like the closer it got to home, the more I thought about getting involved in it. So when I first heard UK hip hop, I can like remember when a mate of mine, we all used to listen to loads of US stuff. Like we'd really got into we were just starting to discover the East Coast kind of side of things, really getting into like Onyx and Wu-Tang and everything like that. And I was chatting to someone, he was like a mate of a mate, but he was into hip hop too. And he was like, I heard you like your hip hop. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, I'm really into ba ba ba, like rattled off a few people I'd been listening to that week. And he was like, you need to listen to some UK shit, man. And I was like, while I never thought of UK not being a place where people rapped, I hadn't, heard UK people rap over dusty sort of boom bap and that. And I remember my mate George put on a CD put on The Foundation by Terra Firma, and he put on War. And the lyric that stuck out to me was something like, canoe your crew and super glue. No, it's leave them super glue to a snooker cue. And that was something that to me was it was like this hard gangster style American rap, but it was something like snooker cue being so quintessentially British. And I was like, this is mad, I love this. And then like from there I discovered like Jest and Brain Tax and all like the low life era. But then in terms of actually writing myself, biggest thing for me was there was this YouTube series, I don't know whether you guys will have heard it, called the WY Cypher or the West Yorkshire Cypher. And it was like a freestyling thing. It kind of a guy called do you know Luna C, who he's sort of from Battle End Don't Flop. Me and my mate Bacchus actually supported him last November, which was but he was involved in the WI Cypher. Defenders of Style, who are one of the most prominent, probably the most prominent rap group from Leeds in terms of UK hip hop. They were involved in the West Yorkshire Cypher. Jack Flash from Huddersfield, he's now raps under Rob Bradley. He was in the West Yorkshire Cypher. And it was basically just this thing of like kind of everyone going around to Synoptic Studios, it was called. It's now called WY Studios. And yeah, they'd just get around, and the rule was it had to be freestyle. It was 100% freestyle raps. And all these people from around Yorkshire were getting around. And it was just sort of like, it was a perfect thing for stoners to watch, to be honest. It was just sort of like lads sitting in a room, rapping about each other's mums and like kind of trying to cuss each other, kind of having a laugh, and just sort of like kind of having a bit of a party and a drink and a bit of a smoke and whatnot. And I think watching that, that was the probably biggest sort of click moment of like, people from where I'm from are rapping and they're doing it really well, and there's an established scene there, which I think if I hadn't seen that, like, I think everyone who's listened to hip hop has thought about, oh, could I rap or could I write a lyric? There's probably had some attempt at it, no matter how embarrassing it may have been. But I think seeing it that close to home for me was like, all right, maybe I can have a go at this. And so I think I wrote, but then from there, even then, it took me ages to properly get into it. I think I wrote, a couple of my mates made beats as well, so that was another incentive to write. Like they're always like, I need someone to jump on this, but they never knew any rappers. So I did one verse to my mate Jay's beat. I think it was called Spring Shine or something like that. It was one of them ones where the track was just called the name of the beat, and it was like this sort of gentle summary kind of thing. And then I wrote a track called Escape Artist, and I'd originally wrote it over Say Something by Kev Brown, and then eventually my mate George remade a beat to it. And I think, so those first two tracks I wrote when I was about 20, and then I wrote Jazz and Buckfast, which got released via the Jazz Hop Cafe. I think I wrote that when I was like 22. It was like after uni, and I was sort of like, you kind of thrown from your little uni bubble into like real life, and you're like, man, this is way more difficult than than anyone else made out it was going to be. And I think it was, so yeah, I think in terms of me getting into rap to to summarize, is it was a combination of like seeing that it could be done by people from West Yorkshire, and then also hip hop going from being something that I was passionate about and that I liked to being a release, and then it was a good sort of emotional release, and then kind of as I got on, tried to refine it technically. But I've for a long time I just wrote and didn't perform at all. I just wrote stuff, and it was all things I did in my room, and I'd show it to my mates, but I wouldn't go to any open mics or anything. I've only really started kind of trying to make a dedicated effort with getting about since I've moved to London, to be honest. So yeah,
I like the fact that you keep to, I don't know, the Yorkshire thing, like the album you released on Bandcamp, Tales from Dales.
Tales from Dales. Yeah, man.
Yeah, it works really well, and even I can't remember which one it is, but you just use those kind of the northern slang just in your rhymes, and like you said with Lunacy, he did a similar thing. Especially on his earlier stuff. He still does it a bit now, but on the Lunar CD in particular, that is so like, it's so Bradford when you listen to it. Like, obviously there's his sense of humor too, but he really uses the northern accent, northern dialect. I think there's occasional moments where I've chatted about it with other MCs from the north as well, where the biggest one is when if you're writing a particular thing and you're like, if I was from London, I could make that word. This is so annoying. And you're thinking like, Jest could make that. Normally it's the word like laugh. Like if I wanted to say, like Jest will have like bars, ha ha, laughing, blah blah blah, and he can make it flow. And then there'll be a moment where I'm like, I can't make that scheme work. But what northern people can do, which pretty much no other, I don't think it happens anywhere else, is just the compression of words and removing letters is something that we're quite a fan of, and incidentally helps quite a lot in terms of sort of, I'd have a rap that, there'll be a line which technically has 6 words in it, but because I'm northern, I can sort of just extract a few letters and it still makes sense, which is obviously very satisfying from a writing perspective. But yeah, I think I think when, like, obviously the big appeal of hip hop, and when I started getting into it, is I think as a listener, you're either listening for relatability, like particularly that's what I loved about UK hip hop and Yorkshire hip hop. It was people were rapping about stuff that I was like, yeah, I can relate to that. Like when I first heard Any Defenders of Style, one of them went to my school as well, which is how I got shown it. Like my mate George was like, check this out. That guy Henry used to be in my brother's year, or he was like the year above my brother or something. And they were rapping about like being mashed on Briggate, which is like a big main road and like a big pedestrianised road in Leeds. And they were like, oh, queuing for my JSA. And it's like, I've never heard bars like that, so it's relatable. So I think when you listen to hip hop, you're either listening for relatability or you're listening for that window into someone else's life. Like with Wu-Tang or whatever, it's so far, it's like watching a film, isn't it? It's like it's so far removed from what you know, but they paint a picture so well. Like when you listen to pretty much any like Raekwon, or like, yeah, I'd say mainly Raekwon, man, where I can't think of, is it called Jihad or something? There's a few of the tracks on the Cuban Links albums where it's like just painting a picture of it being like New York or whatever. And yeah, so I think where you are from or who you are, that's always got to bleed through into what you're doing in hip hop in terms of your lyricism, your image, whatever. It's showcasing your culture, isn't it? So yeah, it's always got to be a big part of it. Even though I haven't actually lived in Leeds for years, which some people are still like crestfallen to hear. I'm like I'm Leeds through and through, but yeah, I haven't lived there for like maybe 5 years now, I think. Jesus. But yeah. Well, you can get some of that London slang in your raps now. Your 5 years is probably a good amount of time.
Yeah, I'm bourgeois enough that I can expand my appeal to the.
You get your London citizenship now.
Yeah, I think I've been here. I've been in London 2 years. No, yeah, 2 years. So yeah, with a house with some mates in Archway, and then like a year ago this month is when me and Olivia moved in our flat in North Finchley. So yeah, that's mad. That's flown by. But, yeah.
So, I mean, tell us about how the lockdown has affected you. I mean, personally and with your art, your music.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think I've been going through like the funny thing about social media is you see everyone going through like en masse, everyone going through sort of similar motions. Whether it's look, everyone's giving themselves a grade 1 haircut this week, or look, everyone's like doing exercise they didn't normally do this week, or whatever. I think April was a much better month for me in terms of lockdown. I think this month I've been a bit like, whoa, where am I? Like, but yeah, April was writing like loads. Like I got a lot of writing done. I think I've lapsed into lockdown being sleeping far too much, spending far too much time on social media, saying I'm going to do stuff, like having one thing to do that day and then not doing it till 6 p.m. Religiously watching The Chase, that's been another one. Game shows are like, I would never have thought I would be as into game shows as I've been since lockdown, but I think I'm obviously craving mental stimulation of some kind, and that's like my fix. The Chase is a big one.
The Chase, love it.
But creatively it's been cool, man. I think I released some I put some there was a challenge on Instagram, but it literally only lasted a week, which was a bit of a shame because I don't know, by the time I'd written to the beat, the challenge was over. But it was a Farmer G had done a 16-bar challenge on this really nice sort of I don't know where the sample's from, but it sounds like it's a kind of 70s funk kind of thing. It's very reminiscent of like sort of the stuff Juggernaut's doing at the minute, or like the newer Sonny Jim stuff, like that. Really nice. It's like, it's almost all like Children of Zeus. Like it's not like a boom bap kind of beat. It's literally just like rapping over soul music, which was awesome. So yeah, I wrote over that, and I think kind of sort of some of the stuff I was saying in that track was sort of reminiscent of how I feel. Like obviously the bigger picture of what's going on is, you know, pretty mental and obviously not necessarily a positive thing, but I think on the other, you know, on the flip side of it, to be a bit more selfish about it, like when would we ever get any other opportunity to recharge this much and focus on things like, because I think I've always been, as long as I've been in full-time work, I've always complained that I don't have enough time to exercise, don't have enough time to write raps. I've got a side hustle that I want to make my main hustle, but I don't have enough time to work on it. And now I've got no excuse. So I've kind of been putting more time into those things, obviously, which is ace. Like,
and watching The Chase.
I'm watching The Chase, yeah. So the productivity definitely comes and goes. I'll have days where I'll do absolutely nothing, and days where, you know, I'll be like, oh man, I feel so lucky that I've been able to spend a whole day just working on a rap or whatever. But
so what's the side hustle that you're?
So the side hustle is freelance copywriting, which isn't crazily exciting, but it's, you know, something that is so I've worked in office jobs for like pretty much since I've finished uni, so yeah, for about 5 years, and I got into marketing eventually and doing copywriting just because I had, like, I remember I got to third year of uni and I had a careers meeting and I was like, don't know what I'm doing, I need to figure out what I'm going to do with this degree that I've spent 20 odd grand on. No wait, not 20 grand, I got lucky, 9 grand. Yeah, I need to like sort of figure out, and then I'll just take a career that was writing. And then yes, copywriting was the thing. So I eventually got into it, but I think I've just sort of grown tired of office culture and like low job security as well. Like, and yeah, I like the idea of being able to work in my own time, and you know, the output being more important than the hours of the day I do it in, or, you know, having to be somewhere at a certain time. So yeah, man, so that's the side hustle. So I'd say April I was writing a lot more rap. May I've been doing a lot more like sort of side hustle in between game shows, obviously.
and you've done a few live stream events as well.
Yeah, man.
Have you got any more of those planned? And what are your thoughts on those generally? Like, do you think they work well?
I was hoping this might come up. It's a really interesting one, isn't it? Yeah, so I think live stream, one I've got on my radar is the end of the week event that's going on, I think it's this Sunday, and it's like 2 till 7. And I think it's all in dedication to, I think it's in remembrance of Ty and Vice as well. I think it said Vice and Ty on the thing. And then I didn't realize how many people were involved in end of the week. So obviously G-Bag's like 3-time champion. Tenchu's been a champion. Jack Flash has also been a champion. I think Benny's on that stream as well. Yeah, so that's one I've got my eye on. I've done a few. I did a live stream poetry slam, which was pretty cool. Obviously the Beans, Rhymes and Life one. I also did one where Lunacy just opened up his live stream and invited rappers to jump on, and I did that. Yeah, it's a weird one. It's a double-edged sword, man. I think so. I'm like, maybe go positives first. Depending on the size of the event, like for the poetry slam, there was about 130 people locked in when I did my piece, which is mad, and you get to do it from the comfort of your own home. So you're not as like the adrenaline you get when you are sitting in an event and you're waiting for yourself to go on and other people are performing. And I get adrenaline to the point I don't really take in anything that's happening up until I perform, and then I can finally calm down and but up until that point, I'm just sort of like going over my lines in my head and stuff like that. So that kind of element, that nervousness is removed. You feel really comfortable, and as a result, you probably perform better. Like you don't get as out of breath as quick because adrenaline should play in your favor. But when you're a rapper and you need air, and the airs go into your limbs rather than your lungs, adrenaline sort of doesn't always work in your favor. So that element's taken out of it. But there's more of a nervousness about shit. What if my connection drops, or and stuff. And those elements you can't control, but they make a huge difference. And sometimes it doesn't matter how good you are. If things bomb out, then you can't have the desired impact. Overall, I think they're. Oh yeah, sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, have you seen that on Instagram? They've been doing loads of verses, so they had like Erykah Badu versus Jill Scott. They had
yeah, man,
Nelly versus Ludacris. It's been there's been loads, and it's been like you were saying about connection dropping out.
Wasn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like talking about people dropping out, that's people were dropping out. You're talking about people who should be able to afford better Wi-Fi than that, right?
Yeah, man. Like the people that are the best in the game are still not. Which is a shame, really. It's kind of interesting because it means everyone, regardless of how big you are, is on the same plane. Whereas if it was, if it's a gig, like if you're at quite a small venue and there's a problem with the sound, like everyone's got a problem with the sound, where there is no way a major label artist is going to have a problem with their sound. And if they do, then they'll storm off, or someone at the venue will get an earful. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think in terms of expanding your reach, it's incredible. Like it also means you can go on tour from your house. Like if you put in a bit of, I've seen people that I haven't done it myself. Really, I haven't been on as much as I should. But I think I've definitely seen other people like doing events not only up and down the country. Like they can perform at events that are like in Newcastle or Scotland or whatever from London, or they can, if they're willing to stay up till 1 a.m, I think it is usually like 1 or 2 a.m, then they can do like a poetry event in New York that's got a really strong like poetry scene, or they can do a hip hop event in New York. Do you know what I mean? So in terms of expanding your reach and reaching new people, I think it's incredible. I think that's awesome. I think if you're doing it off like a laptop speaker, which is what I've done the times I've done it, then yeah, it's not always going to be amazing. I think I definitely did one where I presumed everyone could hear the beat fine. And I was doing it off my laptop, sat in my girlfriend's car, doing it off my laptop through my phone, like the beat on laptop, recording through my phone. And then like my mate messaged me and was like, that was sick. Couldn't hear the beat at all, but that was sick. And I was like, all right, okay, that's a bit of a shame. So if you haven't got the right setup already, or you don't know how to stream your setup adequately to get it sounding like tip top, then yeah, you can sort of do yourself a disservice. I think so obviously I think it's got the advantage of reach above everything else, and the advantage of comfort. And also, if you're a bit this is going to make me sound like a dick, but it is true, and I'd be very surprised if anyone disagreed, is also there's the advantage of you can stay at the event while you are, going to the loo doesn't mean the event has to end. Going and, doing some washing up doesn't mean the event has to end. Going and do some cooking doesn't mean the event has to end. Do you know what I mean? So whereas so that's nice. That's a good bonus of it as well. But yeah, I think in terms of unless it's, I think maybe spoken words are a bit of an advantage, because obviously all you need is to say words. Whereas I think if you are wanting to perform music, it's a bit of it'll do. especially over Instagram Live. I think Zoom. I've watched a few Zoom ones which are pretty sick because you can share audio, can't you? So I think if you have a decent setup, I think it's the guys from London seem to do these ciphers, and they obviously have a good knowledge of how to record themselves at home anyway. And I've watched them do a cipher the other day, and it all sounded like perfectly crisp. So yes, I think given the right platform, sound quality maybe is not an issue. But
yeah, we found if anyone's got a beat to rap to on Instagram Live, it doesn't work so well. But I think Google have released a new kind of Hangout type thing, and it's unlimited. Nice. So you may have to look into that.
Just to be aware, it's not new. They've just made it available for everyone. It's been knocking.
But I know Hangouts did, but didn't they shelved it for a while, and then because I saw them advertising it as well recently, like it was on. So, but I don't know. It might be worth looking into. Ollie, we're going to have to leave it there because we are running out of time on this.
Yeah, I've seen the
40-minute Zoom call. But where can people find you or buy your music or watch a video?
Yeah, so I'm on all social media as @Doberman WY. So Doberman WY for West Yorkshire. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. All use that handle. SoundCloud as well. I'm on Spotify. I think I'm at the point now where if you look me up, I will come up above the Japanese band called Doberman, the Japanese ska band, which is good. That's been a thorn in my side for some time. So yeah, by all means listen via Spotify, but if you want to support, Bandcamp is the way to go because that's the most direct sort of monetary route to my pocket. But yeah.
Excellent. Well, thanks for joining us. We'll put all the links in the show notes as well.
Big up, much appreciated. Thanks for your time.
And hope to see you again soon. Beats, Rhymes and Life, a real version.
Man.
In the flesh version.
100%. I look forward to it. Take care, guys. Yeah, stay safe.
Cool.
Good work.
Take it easy.
Nice one.
In a bit.
See you soon.
That was episode 4 of the Pop-In Sessions. Follow us on Instagram @PorOverPodcast. You can follow me on Instagram @JamesStantonDidIt. Jade is @BlackJFilms, and Colin is @Colin_Stanton82. Catch you on the next one.